everyone, and welcome to Addie's Chat. My name is Addie. Most people call me Addie, and you are welcome again to Addie's Chat. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining me. Thank you so much. If you're here every Friday, really appreciate you. Thank you to everybody who sends a comment, who sends a like. Thank you to everybody who gives the feedback. Really lovely, lovely. I really appreciate you all. Thank you to all new subscribers. If you're just joining us, as I said, my name is Addie. Most people call me Addie. Thank you so much for joining us. My chat usually is about savings, budgeting, and some random things in between, really. I hope you stick around. Yes, just before we go, would you just like to give a thumbs up actually for this video? Please give a thumbs up. This will really help my video. Thank you so much. Today, as I said, I'm going to be talking about DHP, so that's discretionary housing payment. So DHP, that's what I'll be talking about today. Still on that on housing. We're still going to be talking a little bit more on housing, and once I've been able to answer all the questions, I can then move forward to some other chat. But if this is something you'll be interested in, stick around. I'll see you in a bit. Okay, welcome back, everyone. Today actually I've got my laptop just right in front of me so I can check some of the things. I don't like to miss out some key details, so I tend to have a note typed up to just interesting fact. If you're watching this, actually it means I would have recorded edited this and actually get it ready to be published within 2 hours, really. Fingers crossed. We're going to see how that goes. I've been really pushed for time lately, but yes, it's the commitment really that keeps me going, but and also it keeps me seeing a lot of people coming back to me on WhatsApp, on Facebook. Yes, it keeps me going, really. Thank you so much, really. Don't forget to always share it with somebody else, really. It's just all this information, again, I always say all the information that I provide, they're all available somewhere online, really. Sometimes it's when you need the information, you can't really access it, but most of the information I provide are available somewhere, really. There might be tiny bits here and there that are not really accessible to everybody, which I would be able to maybe just talk a little bit about. Lovely. So we're going to go on to talk about discretionary housing payment. What is discretionary housing payment? This is a payment to anyone that can be made by the local authority. This meaning your council, to assist you to further meet your housing costs or housing needs, really. And as the name implied, discretionary. So this is down to their discretion to decide to actually give this to you. In my local council, the way it works with a panel of 3 people, actually. When you make the application, it goes off to a panel of 3 people. They decide really based on the funding. Every council has been given some funding to help people in their neighborhood, to help them combat housing problems, housing arrears, really, the cost of housing. So this is where they get this funds from, and there are loads of people applying, really. It differs from time to time, but there is, in my own local council, there's 3 people that sits on this decision, really. They sometimes will ask for more information to make the right decision, but I cannot really comment on what happens in a lot of councils, but I bet that there will be a panel as well that sits on it to decide on whether you get the discretionary housing payment. So you and in my own local council, you can only apply once in 2 years. If you have received the money into it, just to make it a bit fair, they have done that, which is actually quite good. So if you have had the money within 2 years, if you have had the money, you would have to wait a period of 2 years before you again apply. Hopefully most people, when they get the money, it's a once in a lifetime thing to help people get out of a fix, really. I'll explain to you what the fix might be. In some cases it might be when people are looking to rent, the deposit itself, because most rent, really, in the area I live in, really, for an average family is probably over £1,000. So when people are looking to rent, they have the money for that month, but they haven't actually got the deposit, and they've got to also pay for removals to also help them move to that property. So that there's a shortfall really. So that's what discretionary housing payment is really there for. Also, to be honest, discretionary housing payment has been used for people who have gotten into rent arrears, especially during this the pandemic year really, where people have gotten into rent arrears. They've been able to use discretionary housing payment. With council tax arrears in the past really, if you have council tax arrears, you could use discretionary housing payment to pay it. But the DWP has given guidelines on how discretionary housing payment should work, and they are not at the moment. There's no they're not letting people actually use DHP they're not letting people use DHP for council tax arrears anymore. So as I've explained really, discretionary housing payment will be given mostly to people who claim the housing element of universal credit. People will get help with housing really, mostly they'll get discretionary housing payment. But again, in the pandemic year, I have seen a little bit of a change. They have given discretionary housing payment to quite a few people that would not fall in the category. People that are in shared accommodation as well. Actually, I know quite a few people that got discretionary housing payment in shared accommodation in this year of the pandemic. So that was a good thing really, because previously I didn't know that they could get that. The things that you cannot use discretionary housing payment for, you cannot use it to pay for your water or sewage bill really. If you are in arrears with water, there are other things. On another chat I would maybe go through the options of how you can get help with your if you're in arrears with water. But for discretionary housing payment, you will not be able to use it to pay for that really. And discretionary housing payment also cannot be used as a shortfall for universal credit. When you have a shortfall in your universal credit, when you've taken an advance payment or anything like that, you cannot use it to actually put it towards your universal credit to make up for the shortfall really. It's strictly really for rent arrears, for housing costs really. That's what discretionary housing payment is for. And how the application works really, most councils on their website, again, you would find clear links to discretionary housing payment. Most people say they don't find it clearly, but you could, to be honest, I've tried this morning about 3 councils, and you could just, it's not quite clear, I'll be honest as well. So what you could do is the search bar on the council's website, you could just put DHP and use a few information will come up. It's just easier that way, and then you click on it really. There's quite a few documents. Most of them again are doing the applications online really. You could ring them up to request a paper application form, but it might be quicker to do it online. And most of the form, it would take your details, your address, really just the regular things. They would probably need details of your bank account, details of your universal credit payment as well, just proof of your universal 2 months bank statement. I think that's what some of them look for really. Yes, so to apply for discretionary housing payment, as I was saying, you would need the last 2 months bank statement showing all transactions. You need proof of any arrears really, or any debt that you owe. If there are other debts that doesn't relate to housing costs, actually you could put that there as well, because that helps. If you've got a medical condition, you need proof of that. Then an up-to-date statement of your rent really, and the rent arrears, or if you're moving, just proof to show what the landlord or what the agent actually requires you to pay as well really. And the easiest way to do it really is to send to attach. Most councils will have a way of attaching all this proof to the application, or they should have an email directly to them. If you put your name on top of it and your reference number, and you email it to them, or your name and address really, you email it to them, then the application will be reviewed. They will write to you generally, they will write to you fairly. It doesn't take that long. I think the most you would have to wait probably 6 weeks, really 4 to 6 weeks, I would say. It doesn't take that long. They'll write to you to tell you if you have been successful or not. Also, if you have not been successful, you could appeal the process. But really, with discretionary housing payment, the payment is at their discretion. So really, the process of appealing it is not official. Really, it's not you can ask them to look at the decision again, really, and they can give you reasons. They can write back to you to give you reasons why they disagree with looking back at it again. They can give you factors that are important, and they can ask you to send more evidence. Really, it's really down discretionary housing payment. There's no guarantees at all, as the name implies. Really, it's down to them. You can't really question it. Nobody can actually help you fight this if they don't give it to you. You might just not be lucky at the time, I guess, really. So but if you haven't had it, that just means that you can then you can ask them what was the reason. If they tell you that you just didn't have enough evidence, then you can put that together and resubmit your application. But if it's just a case of the funding they had to prioritize, really, I don't see anything else that you could do in that case. But then again, this is where you can apply for other grants to help you with housing costs, really. So that's discretionary housing payment, really. That's all it is. But I talked about it because a lot of people don't know that it exists. It's just it's not something that's talked about a lot, because again, it's not a benefit. It's not something that's guaranteed as well. But a lot of people, I would say 6 out of 10 actually do get approved. They do get it, really, and it helps people. It's just sometimes that difference where people have to have a deposit, really does help a lot of people, where people need a cost, where people need to pay for their moving costs, really, as well. So it's a good payment, really, and it helps if you can get it. Anyway, that's all my chat today. Yes, so thank you once again for watching, and I hope to speak to you next week, really. Have a good week, everyone. I hope, bye.